McLaren F1. The McLaren F1 completely transformed the supercar industry when it debuted in the early 1990s. At a time when many high-performance cars focused mainly on luxury and styling, McLaren approached the project like a Formula One engineering challenge. Legendary designer Gordon Murray wanted to create the purest driver's car possible, which meant prioritizing lightweight materials, aerodynamic efficiency, and mechanical balance above everything else. The result was a car powered by a naturally aspirated BMW-built V12 engine that produced incredible performance without relying on turbochargers or electronic driver aids. One of the most famous features of the F1 was its central driving position, where the driver sat in the middle with two passenger seats slightly behind on either side. This layout improved visibility and weight distribution while giving the cabin a truly unique feel. Carbon fiber construction was revolutionary for the time, and McLaren even lined parts of the engine bay with gold foil to reflect heat. The F1 eventually became the fastest production car in the world, reaching speeds above 240 miles per hour. Decades later, many enthusiasts and professional drivers still consider it one of the greatest road cars ever created because of its raw driving experience and engineering purity. McLaren F1 LM. The F1 LM was built to celebrate McLaren's shocking victory at the 1995 24 Hours of Le Mans, where the company entered the race for the first time and immediately defeated many established manufacturers. Inspired directly by the race-winning F1 GTR, the LM version became lighter, faster, and more aggressive than the standard road car. Engineers removed unnecessary weight, improved cooling systems, and increased aerodynamic downforce with a larger front splitter and giant rear wing. The V12 engine produced even more power and delivered an unforgettable, naturally aspirated sound. Most F1 LMs wore a bright orange paint scheme inspired by the historic McLaren racing colours used during Bruce McLaren's era. Because production numbers were incredibly small, the LM quickly became one of the rarest and most valuable McLarens ever built. Collectors often see it as the ultimate expression of the original F1 philosophy because it blended road car usability with true endurance racing heritage. Even today, the F1 LM is regularly described as one of the most legendary hypercars in automotive history. McLaren F1 GT. The McLaren F1 GT was created for homologation purposes so McLaren could continue competing in GT racing championships. Racing rules required manufacturers to produce road-going versions of their race cars, so McLaren designed the F1 GT as an extreme long-tail variant of the standard F1. The most noticeable feature was its dramatically extended rear section, which improved aerodynamic stability and generated more downforce at high speeds. The bodywork looked far more aggressive and race-oriented than the already exotic standard F1. Despite being road legal, the car felt incredibly close to a professional race machine in both appearance and behaviour. Production numbers were extremely limited, making the F1 GT one of the rarest road cars McLaren has ever produced. Its unusual proportions and direct connection to motorsport made it highly respected among collectors and racing enthusiasts. The F1 GT also helped establish the long-tail concept that later became an important part of McLaren's identity in future performance models. McLaren P1. The McLaren P1 marked a major turning point for the company because it introduced hybrid technology into McLaren's hypercar lineup. Released alongside the Ferrari LaFerrari and Porsche 918 Spider, the P1 became part of the famous Holy Trinity of hybrid hypercars. Instead of using electrification mainly for efficiency, McLaren focused on using electric power to improve acceleration, responsiveness, and overall driving performance. The twin-turbocharged V8 engine worked together with an electric motor to create brutal acceleration and instant throttle response. The car featured advanced active aerodynamics, including a large adjustable rear wing and a suspension system that could lower the car closer to the ground in race mode. Engineers designed the body to aggressively manage airflow for both cooling and downforce. Inside, the cabin remained relatively minimalist because reducing weight stayed a major priority. The P1 proved that hybrid systems could enhance excitement rather than reduce it, and it became one of the defining hypercars of the 2000s. McLaren P1 GTR. The P1 GTR pushed the standard P1 into full track car territory. Freed from road regulations, McLaren engineers could dramatically increase aerodynamic performance, widen the body, and improve cooling systems for continuous circuit driving. The car gained a massive fixed rear wing, aggressive aerodynamic elements, and race-inspired suspension geometry designed for maximum grip. Power output also increased, helping the car achieve astonishing lap times on professional racetracks. Buyers of the P1 GTR were invited into McLaren's exclusive racing program, where professional instructors and engineers helped owners learn how to drive the car at famous circuits around the world. The experience felt closer to participating in a factory racing team than simply owning a hypercar. Visually, the P1 GTR looked much more intimidating than the road-going P1, with sharp lines and extreme bodywork emphasizing its racing purpose. Many enthusiasts consider it one of the closest things to a Le Mans prototype ever offered to private customers. McLaren P1 LM. The P1 LM was developed by Lansante, the same company closely connected to McLaren's Le Mans success in the 1990s. Starting with the already extreme P1 GTR, Lansante transformed the car into a road-legal machine while making it even lighter and more capable. Extensive weight reduction became a major focus, with thinner glass, lighter components, and aerodynamic refinements throughout the body. Cooling systems were redesigned to improve reliability under intense driving conditions, while power output was increased further. The P1 LM became globally famous after setting impressive records at events such as the Goodwood Festival of Speed Hill Climb. It combined the raw intensity of a race car with enough practicality to legally drive on public roads. Many fans consider the P1 LM the ultimate evolution of the entire P1 platform because it represented the absolute limit of what the car could become. McLaren Senna. Named after legendary Formula One champion Ayrton Senna, the McLaren Senna was designed almost entirely around track performance. Every component of the car served the purpose of improving speed, grip, and braking capability. Massive aerodynamic channels, giant wings, and complex airflow systems generated enormous downforce, allowing the car to corner at incredible speeds. The body looked aggressive and unusual because McLaren prioritized function over traditional beauty. Inside, the cabin remained stripped down and lightweight, with minimal luxury features compared to many other expensive hypercars. Carbon fiber construction helped keep the weight extremely low, improving agility and responsiveness. The twin-turbocharged V8 engine delivered violent acceleration and a highly emotional driving experience. While its appearance divided opinions, nearly everyone respected the Senna once it reached a racetrack. It became famous for delivering performance levels that rivaled purpose-built racing machines, while still remaining technically road legal. McLaren Senna GTR. The Senna GTR took the philosophy of the standard Senna even further by removing road legality restrictions completely. Without needing to follow streetcar regulations, engineers could maximize aerodynamic efficiency and track performance. The body became wider and more aggressive, while the giant rear wing and enlarged diffuser produced massive amounts of downforce. Grip levels increased dramatically, allowing the car to corner at speeds that felt almost unreal. The engine produced even more power, while suspension tuning became much more race-focused. Inside, the cockpit resembled a professional race car with extensive carbon fiber surfaces and minimal distractions. The Senna GTR behaved more like a prototype endurance racer than a traditional hypercar. Owners primarily used the car during private track events and special McLaren driving programs. Because of its extreme design and limited production, the Senna GTR quickly became one of the wildest and most respected McLarens ever created. McLaren Speedtail. The McLaren Speedtail approached performance from a completely different angle than the Senna. Instead of focusing on lap times and downforce, the Speedtail emphasized aerodynamic efficiency, luxury, and maximum straight-line speed. Its body featured a long teardrop shape, carefully designed to minimize drag and allow the car to slice through the air as smoothly as possible. The Speedtail became the fastest McLaren road car ever built at the time, capable of reaching extraordinary top speeds while remaining stable and refined. Like the original McLaren F1, the Speedtail used a 3-seat layout with the driver positioned in the center. The cabin featured futuristic displays, advanced controls, and luxurious materials that created a grand touring atmosphere rather than a raw racing environment. The hybrid powertrain delivered smooth yet brutal acceleration, proving that hypercars could combine extreme speed with comfort and elegance. The Speedtail represented McLaren's vision of the future of high-speed road travel. McLaren Elva. The McLaren Elva delivered one of the most unique driving experiences in the modern automotive world because it originally featured no roof and no windshield. Inspired by lightweight open cockpit race cars built by Bruce McLaren in the 1960s, the Elva focused entirely on creating a direct connection between the driver and the environment. Engineers developed an advanced airflow management system that redirected wind above the cabin to reduce turbulence at high speeds. The lightweight carbon fiber body combined with a powerful twin turbocharged V8 engine gave the car explosive acceleration and agile handling. Without the isolation normally provided by a roof or windshield, every sensation became more intense, including engine sound, wind, and road feedback. The Elva was less about chasing lap records and more about delivering a dramatic emotional experience. Its radical design and extremely limited production made it one of the boldest hypercars McLaren had ever attempted. McLaren Sabrę. The McLaren Sabrę was an ultra-exclusive hypercar developed mainly for customers in the United States. Produced in very limited numbers, the Sabrę combined dramatic styling with one of the most powerful non-hybrid engines McLaren had ever created. Sharp aerodynamic surfaces and aggressive bodywork gave the car a futuristic appearance that looked almost like a concept vehicle brought into reality. Unlike many modern hypercars that relied heavily on electrification, the Sabrę focused on delivering a raw gasoline-powered experience with immediate throttle response and high-speed capability. Engineers tuned the car to provide an intense and emotional driving character while still remaining road legal. Because production numbers were so small, very few people have ever seen one in person. The Sabrę quickly became one of the rarest and most mysterious modern McLarens, adding to its appeal among collectors. McLaren Soluss GT. The McLaren Soluss GT began life as a virtual concept car designed for a racing video game before eventually becoming a real production machine. Its appearance looked more like a futuristic formula car than a normal hypercar, featuring a single-seat cockpit covered by a fighter jet-style canopy. The driving position placed the driver at the absolute center of the car, creating a highly focused racing experience. Power came from a naturally aspirated V10 engine capable of extremely high revs and an intense sound unlike most modern turbocharged hypercars. Lightweight engineering and advanced aerodynamics allowed the Soluss GT to achieve performance levels comparable to professional race machines. Massive downforce helped keep the car stable through corners at incredible speeds. The Soluss GT represented McLaren's most extreme vision of what a track-focused hypercar could become, blurring the line between science fiction and real-world motorsport engineering.